I am very privileged to have Richard Njau, aka the Digital Prophet.
Companies are going to want their own digital company in-house. Because I used to tell companies, you have to behave like a media house.
Esther runs a very popular podcast called CTA, or else Cleaning the Airwaves, which was recently recognized as one of the most popular podcasts in the region.
Giving shows you that you have an abundance mentality. An abundance mentality is only one.
Yeah.
You're connected to the source of the provision.
So we have an amazing guy on this platform who is completely unbound, and you will understand when we get to the heart of the conversation how unbound and how you do not even have a clue who Esther is. But today is the beginning. I remember I met Esther in 2018 when I was trying to figure out what is digital and how should Njau Capital be using digital. And one conversation with Esther, I like calling him Esther, completely transformed Njau Capital, and not just Njau, but my entire mindset. Today, Njau Capital and myself are a leading financial authority in the region. And many people's lives have been changed, their mindsets have been challenged and shifted because of one man who spoke something that shifted how we think about digital. So I am looking forward to having this conversation deeper. I get a lot of questions on my social media handles. Pius, I do not have the money. How can you be telling me to invest? And this has really been bothering me. How can I be telling people to invest? How can I be telling people to pay themselves first? But what they really need is income. And we'll be trying to figure out where does the shift happen? So welcome to this interview. Esther.
Yeah, bro.
I also feel I feel very strange to be on this side. So just in case I find myself you're interviewing me, please remind me you're the one who's being interviewed. So I think let's talk about our story. Where did our story begin?
Our story, it was 2018.
2018?
Yeah, 2018 I had a digital company called Forup Digital.
Forup, yes. I remember that.
And this room actually has a lot of memories because one of our first videos we ever shot, we shot in this room when Obama came.
Yes.
We shot Caroline Toko here. But then along the way, you called me to your office in town.
Yes.
I'll never forget it. You took me to lunch at
Yes.
Sarova.
Yes.
And you wanted to understand this whole digital thing. And long story short, we started the digital journey. In fact, today as I listened to your team and how they even said, by the way, feel free, talk to the camera there. I was like, Yanni, time is not constant. Time changes, but I feel so proud to be able to see this. At the time, there was no strictly digital production company. Forup Digital was actually the first in terms of strictly for digital. A lot of the other production houses were literally for productions. You get? So you are a pioneer in your field, in your industry. And thank you for giving us a chance. So that we started that journey along the way, and then they came, and that's when I got to know you.
And I remember when I called you to make a presentation before
the board.
My team. And I stood up and I presented a very nice presentation on our distribution channels, and one of them was digital. And I felt very good with myself. And then I asked you now to respond. I thought you'd give us a pat on the back. And when you stood up, the first thing you said, first of all, let me correct you. How you see digital. Digital is not a channel. Digital is a presence. And that was the beginning of a totally different life and trajectory from there.
But let me say how proud I am of you. because of what it is that you've been able to accomplish.
Yeah.
Now, why do I say that? A lot of people think CTA is a channel.
Yeah.
CTA for me is a movement of cleaning the airwaves using culture shaping icons to create, distribute, and promote media with a positive influence. So I'm extremely proud of you because you are a culture shaping icon within the world of finance. The #1 digital authority, I'd even say, in the region.
Yes.
Hands down.
Yeah.
You've been consistent
Yeah.
when it didn't make sense.
Yes.
You took a risk, and now you are impacting people all over the world,
Yeah.
not just within the region. So I'm glad that your consistency, you're seeing the fruits.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
So,
It's
but
true.
that was now the beginning of our journey.
Yes.
But a pivotal turning point came when we were shutting down Forup,
Yep.
which was a very difficult
Yeah.
time in our life.
That was a shock.
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming.
Do you know why we shut it down?
Why? We've never had a chance to talk about that.
Instruction. So,
Yeah.
so I mean, 2019 was difficult
Yeah.
because I had been hearing before it's time to transition.
Yes.
But I'm like, I'm trying to do the maths. How are you going to pay school fees? How are you going to survive? What do you mean? This business is thriving.
Yeah.
We have a lot of clients, Sitam Church Online. We have 19 employees at that time.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you're shutting down?
Yeah.
But I'll never forget the revelation. And God told me, you don't go to university to stay in university. Forup Digital was your university. And at that moment of time, I was like, Forup Digital was my university. The up in Forup stood for uplift. So we were like, okay, wonderful. What do we do? Let's start shutting down. And our instruction was very clear. All the people you are uplifting, including your clients, your employees,
Yes.
hand over your employees to your clients.
Yes.
Do a seamless transition transfer to them, and you go into the next.
Yeah.
At the time, I have no idea. And that's how ISO
Yes.
came and started working for.
Yeah.
So ISO moved from being a cameraman at Forup Digital, or an editor, to being Forup for Nabo.
Yes.
You get,
Yes.
in partnership with Kezi and all the rest. You get.
Yes, yes. And you know, because here we are kind of telling a joint story now, and a lot has been happening, and we'll get to it. As it is happening to me, it's also happening to you.
Yep.
Some twin thing. Because to me, one of the saddest moments in my digital journey was the closure of Forup. I was so heartbroken. I did not even know, and I kept reaching out to find out, are you okay? Not the business. Are you okay? But what I forgot is that became the beginning point of Nabo starting their own in-house media channel.
Now
media team.
You call him a digital prophet. That is actually a name a guy called Solomon Wango gave me when I worked at his company.
Yes.
When he was creating my business cards, he's like, you're going to put digital prophet. I'm like, digital prophet? He's like, who puts this? That's such a...
And you're in business.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you check my LinkedIn, that's what it says. He says, you seem to know where digital is going.
Yeah.
And now I own it and I accept it.
Yeah.
So another thing that I could see happening was I looked and I said, companies are going to want their own digital company in-house. Because I used to tell companies, you have to behave like a media house. So I became aware that every company, you don't want to shoot one video a day. You want to shoot at every moment of time that there's an opportunity to tell your own narrative and own your own story. So I had done this for Sitam Church Online. I'd worked with them and I was beginning to transition a team to them in the midst of closing.
You release them to become independent.
Yes.
Yes.
But also, what was happening is
you're sort of an incubator.
Yes.
A digital incubator.
Yes.
Yes.
And which is foreign for people because you're thinking about the retainer. That is the nice word.
Yes.
Hey, Nabo used to give us a good retainer. It was good money. Like between you and Sitam, we're good. All employees, everybody played. Everybody else is just profit and bonus.
Yeah.
But this thing was also taking my life in terms of I was so busy with different clients. This season took me through understanding entrepreneurship, understanding leadership, so it was that university of entrepreneurship. So when it was time to close, I closed, but I don't know the next. Now let me tell you something.
you were doing this out of obedience.
Out of obedience. And there's something I was disobedient about.
Uh-huh.
Can you remember the day I drove with you? You took me to Rivers. I met you at 2 Rivers.
Yes.
And then we went to Sabis.
Yes.
That's when we're in the process of shutting down Forup. And God tells me, this guy should mentor you. But I'm so heartbroken by these instructions to shut down the company. I'm just like, I'm not understanding where I'm going next. I have no time to even think and allow myself to enter that space.
Yeah.
But 2019 completely changed my life. 2019, I did 2 gigs and made more money in those 2 years, in that year, than I had made in Forup.
That is after Forup.
We shut down Forup in March. In February.
In February.
Yeah.
And you made more money than you.
And I only did 2 events.
2 events. My gosh.
Because as an entrepreneur, you are making a lot of money, but paying a lot of bills.
Yeah.
You get? Yeah. You're new in this thing. You don't know about KRA. You don't know about hires and fires. You don't know about rent. You don't know how. I mean, you don't know about so much, including growing too fast can kill you.
Yes.
So we had moved from doing revenues of 1.2 million a month, which was good when we were young kids. Yes. Suddenly you get a client called KRA who's going to pay you 30 million.
Wow.
But not understanding, for you to do that event for 30 million, they'll pay you after 90 days where you're going to get now the capital to do the event. Yes. So you go and invoice financing, nothing. Yes. Okay, so you go to Shylock's. Yeah. It was a lesson and a half. 5% interest a month. You know, then because you are the pioneers in this field and you've taken KRA from a big client, people now begin poaching your people. It was such a leadership lesson. Dynamics with directors. It was the best university I've ever gone to in terms of entrepreneurship.
Wow.
And then infusing, how do you do that? You pay an SSF on the 22nd, not knowing now because you paid on the 22nd, not the 21st, there's fines. It was just a world on its own.
Yes.
So when we closed, I just wanted to breathe. I didn't want to see a client.
I see why you're calling it the University of Entrepreneurship.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah. So you literally stumbled into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were
because of this gift God has given you.
Just good at digital.
Yep. And you don't even know you're good at digital. Yes. Because all my life, how did I end up working at YouTube? How did I end up working twice at Google? This thing called YouTube, it was my job to introduce it into this region called Eastern Africa. There were 4 YouTube channels when I started working at YouTube. Yeah. And even YouTube didn't even know that this thing was necessary in this country. Because before YouTube, I was head of G+. And G+ was a social media that was created just because Facebook was disrupting. And God, the same person, tells me you're going to go and work at YouTube. So I used to tell them, we need to create content. Guys used to just say, what is this guy talking about content? So they would tell me, we'll pay you, but don't work. After my content ended, this same God that I'm telling you, because I want you to understand the pivotalness of God. I tell them, so Google had a policy that you can't fund content creators. They don't fund content creators. So when I was head of G+, I used to tell them, we need to fund content creators so that content creators can put their content on G+. People come to G+ to start watching that content. That's the only way, because you're late in the game. They were like, no, we don't have a policy at Google that we don't fund. I said, okay. To the point they told me, do not work for 2 months, and they used to pay me good money. 250K net at that time when I'm a kid.
Wow.
For doing nothing.
Wow.
So when the thing ended, they didn't renew my contract. But Mungu ni nani? God flew somebody from Google Nigeria. He came to Kenya. He said, he went to Google Pushatom. He said, I'm looking for somebody who does content. It's called Landry. And everybody in Google said, Mr. Content is a guy called Esther. He came, he said, now Google, because we have a policy that we don't fund content creators, we will fund you. We will give you millions of shillings. Then you go and enable people. I'd gotten married, I was paid millions of shillings a week after, and he has never called me again.
Wow.
Yeah. And that understanding is what made me then form Forup Digital.
Yeah.
And begin enabling people.
You know why this conversation is very important to me? I'm just realizing as we are talking that people have known you from a very different dimension. But it's like today we are introducing the spirit-led Richard or Esther. because people don't understand. Even me then, I never understood why would anyone shut up a thriving business. I never knew that you hear God and you act out of obedience.
I got saved in 2005, December 31st.
Yeah.
And I told God two things. I will do that which you tell me to do. And I trust you. From that time, I have never, ever in my life applied for a job. Till today. You came looking for me.
Yeah.
At Forup Digital, we say we're 3 directors and the 4th one is God, and God is head of sales. Our strategy was to go and teach people how to do digital without us. That is the strategy that God gave us. Go and speak to Pius.
Yeah.
Teach him how to do digital
Yeah.
without you. We used to call it digital empowerment sessions. 3 words, mental digital shift. Never have I ever gone to anybody and said, you work here. Cold calling. Never in my life. So, but 2019 becomes very pivotal by the time I'm shutting it down. Because this thing called Forup Digital, I was supposed to give it to God. But I've refused to be mentored by Pius. So I'm in depression.
Yeah.
You get? Now I'm waking up and I'm like, what madness is this?
Wow.
Like, what am I supposed to do? So I get 2 events, TDJX. When TDJX came for an event called South Africa,
Yeah.
I'm the one who did the digital behind that. And the second event, so I do that event, get paid. Then in that event, a guy called Julian Kula sees me doing the digital marketing for that. He's like, I really like how you did the digital marketing for that. Could you do the digital marketing for this thing that we're starting? It's called R Festival.
R Festival.
Yeah.
Which is now what you call Rema Fest.
Rema Fest.
Yes.
So I'm the one who did the first digital marketing for that event.
Wow.
Now, that event changed my life completely. Because in that event, something pivotal happens. There is a guy who was about to come and speak. And his name was Joshua Selman. So in the comments, everybody is asking, when is Daddy Joshua Selman coming to speak? And me, I couldn't stand those things. So me, I'm like, wait, come and listen to all the speakers. All of them are men of God. Yes. When is the man of God, Joshua Selman, coming? I'm like, what's wrong with you guys? When is the man of God coming to speak?
Yeah.
And God is funny. And I'll show you why right now. Hey, God, you're funny. God wants to show you practically. So, Joshua Selman comes to speak. And because I had gotten so many comments, I'm like, who on earth is this guy? I need to see him. Yeah. And I'm very skeptical at the back. I was the one who was doing the live streaming for that event. So Joshua Selman starts speaking. And it's 2019, November 20-something, 8. And he's speaking about something called sent ones. I walk from the back all the way to the front. Now, in my wallet, I always have foreign currency.
Yeah.
When I go to a different country,
Yeah.
and when I go to a different country and when I come back.
Yeah.
So I always say, God, tell me who to give this foreign currency to. So you can imagine, I had gone to Ethiopia. This is money that I had in my wallet for like about a year.
Yeah.
I walk from the back.
Yeah.
And I go and I put it on the altar.
Yeah.
And I leave.
Surrender.
And that day, God tells me, from today, you have to live your life as a sent one. So you are a vessel of me. Now let me tell you why what I've told you is so important. Because in my wallet right now,
Yes.
I didn't even know we're going to go here. What country were we together with you?
Estonia.
Let's call him. Give that to him.
Wow.
That's the instruction.
Executed on camera. Obedience.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not easy,
No.
but you don't question, you don't ask. So as soon as I started telling this story,
Yeah.
when I came in, God asked me to ask you what your names were. but I didn't know this where the story was going to go. So that day, I decided that from today, I will live my life like that.
Wow.
It was hard. It was hard, Pius. And I began 40 days fast.
Yeah.
Now,
That is now in 2019.
2019. I began a 40-day fast watching this guy called from Transform Nations. And I'm watching him. 40-day toward somebody. For transform. Anyway, I watch him about faith.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
when my 40 days is over, I have my new instructions. So while the whole world is going into COVID, me, I'm coming out very clear. And while the whole world went into COVID,
Yeah.
I made more money
Yeah.
during COVID because the whole world woke up to this thing called digital.
Digital.
And they remember there used to be this guy
Yes.
who used to talk about something called mental digital shift. So every live stream you saw of a musician
Yes.
at that time,
Yes. We moved from social distancing was an opportunity.
yes, like Giuliani, Juakali, like name it. People used to pay me 30,000. They send me their video.
Yeah.
All I do
Yeah.
is upload
Yeah.
and hit something called, I schedule it as a premiere. I'm like, I'm being paid. Because they were like, how do you, so the first gig I did was Nyashinsky.
Yes.
Nyashinsky Live.
Yeah.
So people were like, how is this guy doing this thing live on YouTube, live on Instagram, live on Facebook? Because I was so ahead digitally, me, I knew about Premiere.
Yes.
So people, and further on that,
Yes.
Aroboy, name it, any musician at that time who did. You know, it's like Pius, me saying, I'm giving you, upload a picture and be paid 30K for it. Masi Masika. It was madness. Every day, a guy is sending me 30K to 50K to upload. Bob Collimore's memorial, just to hit upload
Yes.
and hit schedule. Because them, they're like, this guy has some equipment at the back that he's making everything go live.
Wow.
But that now began, also the instructions that I got at that time were,
Yeah.
I was doing CTA,
Yeah.
but continue with the CTA.
Yeah.
Now, why is that important?
Yeah.
Because so I do CTA 2021, 2020. I do in 2020 again in the middle of one of those things.
Yeah.
God tells me, oh, you're going to start working at kenyans.co.ke. You're going to be head of digital and content there.
Yeah.
I work for that. Then 6 months later, I'm out. I'm like, I need to go back to CTA. God gives me permission to go back to CTA.
Yeah.
And the CTA that I shot then was BN.
Yeah.
Then I calm down, and now here, then in the mix of 2022, December 31st.
Before you get 2022, I don't want to miss the intermittent moments, like when you left Forup before you get these two gigs. How are you surviving? Were you ever broke?
I was so broke. It was insane. It was madness.
Because there are so many people out there who are saying, Richie, it seems your life is smooth because God just speaks to you, so you never lack. You have never lacked. You have never been broke. So me, I'm not connecting with this story, but
So me,
I am sure there is more than what you've just told.
Me, I'm a quadmire.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more history.
Yes.
What led me to get saved?
Yes.
I say, growing up, I grew up in one of the wealthiest families in this country.
Yeah.
I went to the schools that I can't afford to take my kids to the school that I went to. You get what I mean?
Yes.
I lived like that without Christ.
Yeah.
Then I switched, and I had this passion for doing music and all of these things. And in this time of trying to find purpose,
Yes.
in finding God, I lose food. When I say I lose food, it means I've been homeless for 6 months in my life.
You moved from having everything,
Yeah, abundance,
to having nothing.
I say my grandfather owned hotels, not one, not two,
Yes.
4.
Yes.
You get?
Yes.
When we would go, even where I got saved in one of his hotels, Safari Beach Hotel.
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah.
But I moved from that, and that day that I got saved was in the mix of, it was either getting saved or die. And getting saved, nobody was with me. Yes. I was seated on the beach, and I had gotten to the point of my life where I was either going to die or something changes. Yeah. And the thing that changes is I start talking to God. I hear God. And God starts telling me, the thing with you is that you're not saved. I'm like, okay, God, my parents are saved, my whatever. So I understand getting saved just means I need to believe in Jesus and whatever and accept in my heart. I've done that. But then I have a problem with you. My parents and my family want me to work in the bank. But you put this thing called music in me. I am obsessed with it. So if I'm getting saved, I want happiness. Because remember, I'm in a 5-star hotel. Yeah. Safari Beach Hotel, waking up every day and just writing DC. DC stood for Director's Cottage. Yes. So I'm a young 20-something-year-old who, to people, has it all, but me, I'm at the point of death. You get?
Okay, why?
Because of depression, because this passion in me to do music, I'm being sent back to go to South Africa to study things that I hate. Yes. Imagine me, I'm refusing to go back to uni. Yes. Being paid. Yeah. Because I'm just like, I want to do this music thing. I wish it would be removed out of me. You get? So I told God, I will get saved on condition that you give me joy, because I don't have this thing. Imagine, you've been in a hotel for a whole month. You can have waking up, drinking. You can have
all the material things, but you have no peace. You're actually in depression.
So I went and I sat on the beach. Let me tell you how I got saved.
News to many people, eh?
Let me tell you how I got saved. I went and I sat on the beach, and I looked at the stars, and I'm like, why are there so many stars today? This is so nice. I wonder where they all are. And I had a voice say, they leave until I give them permission to come back. I'm paraphrasing. I was like, whoa, I must be still high. Yes. I chilled maybe about 30 minutes, and I'm like, where is all the water today? And I had, it leaves until I give it permission to come back. So now I knew I was talking to God, but I needed proof. So crabs came out and they would walk to me. They come. So I'm like, where are all these crabs during the day? And I had, they leave and they ask me for permission. And God is so loving that I didn't talk to him. I was like, me, by the way, God, it's you. I know it's you, and I'm pissed off with you. I can't stand you. Yeah. You get? Yeah. Because what is this? What is this that you're doing? Like you are like, I hate life. Yeah. You get? I'm done, God. I am done with this thing called life. And that's when God understands. It's like, yeah, I get it. But then the thing about you, I'm like, me, I want happiness and music. God tells me you're not saved. I say, okay, no problem. Getting saved is confessing Jesus in my mouth and believe in my heart. I believe. But remember what I've told you? Joy and music. And God is like, now, let's start there. He's like, the problem with you is that you want all the props. You want to tell people you are the music manager. So praise all of these guys. Gitura Kembi, Gitura's son. We used to all make music together. Yes. And I used to be the one who's like, I'm going to be the music manager. I'm going to be the one who produces. Yes. So God tells me, the problem with you, I need you to do the one thing that you can't do without me. And I'm like, God, you want me to rap? I'm like, hey, Mungu, you're crazy. Sina sauti ya kuongea. I'm hopeless, on the cordless, mini skillless. Mungu akaniambia kama yule Moses, who gives man his mouth? Who makes him deaf or dumb? I am the great I am. Put this mic in your hand. Speak to my people. Go. I'm like, I'm rapping. And that's how I became a rapper. So me, I've always known.
So you didn't know that you had that gift until...
Of course not. Like, you're even hearing the lyrics that I'm saying. Yeah. I can't rap. Ask Prezo, ask all these guys. They used to diss me. They'd be like, you just be the TE. TE used to stand for technical engineer. You're the one who knows how to bring everything together. You get? Yes. When I was in university in South Africa, I could nothing. Yeah. But then now in that struggle, because I've refused to go to university, I become homeless. But then what happens actually on the beach is, and I know this is going long, but I begin walking left.
How do you become homeless? Someone decided for you to become homeless.
I went from 5-star living. Yes. So that day, I'm talking to God. God is asking me this. And I start walking. And I walk. Because I was like, right is back to South Africa, left is to Egypt. I'm going to Egypt. Like, that's where I was. I'm like, I'm walking to Egypt. And I begin walking in South Coast. And I walk. But I'm talking to God. So it is the most insane thing ever. For 3 days, I walked talking to God until his voice started disappearing. And I started wondering whether I've been high all this time. Doubt. So for somebody watching, doubt and God's voice, that's how you know he speaks. If you ask me, how do I know God speaks right now? Sometimes I doubt. Because doubt opens up the opportunity for faith. And faith is now the sureness. Very rarely can people tell you they have heard God speak like this. I heard him audibly like this. No. It's always an impression or something. So even till today, and you ask where you come in. So anyway, just fast forwarding. By the time I'm telling you now, I'm getting saved. By the time I'm becoming a musician, by the time all these digital things are coming out, digital did not exist when I was finishing university. This level of digital that I'm doing now. I was there, the pioneering of highfive.com, facebook.com, YouTube, WhatsApp, TikTok. This structure, these platforms didn't exist. Including WhatsApp, AI, you get? So it's the things that I know, it is him who has put them into me. And only later on, years later on, did I understand, I have the gift of digital.